thank you. We have some public comment. Let me ask Adam Smith to come forward. Let's give him 2 minutes. Is that Ariel Salah, Eric Previn? So please come forward to the microphone, sir. And good morning.
My name is Adam.
Oh, well, before you start, there's a special meeting, so this comment is on the specific items. There won't be any general public comment, just on item specific. So go right ahead, Mr. Smith.
As the great philosopher Randy Watson once proclaimed, I believe the children are the future. I see and understand the value of having all kids have access to things like safe swimming education. I see and understand the value in prioritizing children. I try to spend the better part of my days doing just that. But in this city, when I think of the safety of children, food insecurity comes to mind. Affordable housing comes to mind. Crime as a social construct and the over-policing of poor neighborhoods comes to mind. I think about UTLA and how while they garner support for a potential teacher strike within LAUSD, they are continuing to strongly support youth-led organizers from groups like LA Students Deserve and Students Not Suspects in demanding an end to random searches and an end to the school-to-prison pipeline. Swimming is great, but there are far better ways to use resources to help all kids grow to be successful. Last year, part-time Mayor Garcetti shared numbers on how many children died across the country from drowning. But he is remiss to ever share how 831 unhoused folks died here in Los Angeles during 2017 alone, or how the LAPD leads all U.S. police departments in the killing of its residents, including children like Daniel Perez, Jose Mendez, and Jesse Romero. As Garcetti thinks about the presidency and some of you think about his office, I hope we can take a hard look at what it means to truly prioritize our youth and their safety.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker. And then after Mr. Previn, there'll be Jed Perriott. Yes.
Hi, my name is Ariel Slay, and I'm with the Democratic Socialists of America, and I'll just be brief. How much will it cost Angelenos to fund their own displacement and criminalization? We don't yet know, because there's still not a budget for the 2028 Olympics, and it was already grossly negligent to approve this bid last year without a budget in place, and it's pretty negligent that there still isn't one now a year later. Even though we're already seeing rent-controlled buildings be destroyed for hotels that we supposedly need for the Olympics. People are already seeing the impacts of this bid, and we need to see how much it's going to cost us on top of the social costs. If we care about the lives of our children, in addition, I will concur with what Adam said before me, that swimming is not on the top of my list of priorities. As important as it is for students to participate in after-school activities like this, I think it's more important that their schools are well-funded, that their teachers are well-funded, that they have the resources in their classrooms that they need, and that they aren't in classrooms that are overpopulated. So please use your political power to support UTLA instead of the Olympics. Thank you.
Mr. Previn. Then if I can have Johnny Coleman. Yes, Mr. Previn.
Thank you, sir, and good morning. It's Eric Previn from CB2. And, I looked into the Swim LA program, and I know the guys from the Recreation Parks are here, and I think this is great news in a way, because we had, in the last period, 18,000 swim lessons, and then we upped it by double. We doubled it to 36,000. And the cost of, I think, doing that, or the whole program, is about 1.1 million, and I think we're apportioning about 1.3 now to support more of that stuff. And I got to say, I think it's great. I think that getting people swim safe and teaching kids to swim is a great way to go. And I know you're all thinking district-wide. And first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to the Hudson Award-winning city attorney who really drafted a heck of an agreement with the Olympic Committee. And in that agreement, I believe it's 160 million that you all are going to top off. There's a lot of really makes it down to the people who need it, like these kids in the Swim program. And that's what I'm hoping. I'll speak on what's going. I do have one, which is let's not, by contrast, spend a lot projects that don't really hit the road. Right near here, there was a big swimming pool that was shuttered, and what we want to do is make as many opportunities as we can for folks with this money. And we're going to be watching, we want also
We're trying to fix that.
transparency, but the reason why we want transparency, obviously, is it goes without saying, is so that the money really makes it into the hands of these young people who need help. So with that, I would just say thank you and keep up the good work, sir. And again, with the security for the Olympics, let's not bring in private folks to do horrible things to people in First Amendment zones. Let's try to make the city feel like one big deal. So
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Previn. Yes, please identify yourself and excuse the mic. We're trying to work that out. Good morning.
Good morning. Jed Perry with the Democratic Socialists of America, Los Angeles. I think we all have to ask ourselves, why is it that the Olympics are seeing record lows in terms of popularity across the globe? Why is it that there are grassroots organizations forming across the globe in cities like Calgary, Paris, Tokyo, Los Angeles, in an effort to stop the Olympics from coming? Why is it that cities continue to withdraw their bids suddenly? The more people find out about the negative impacts the Olympics has on communities, particularly low-income communities of color, working-class peoples, the gentrification, displacement, police militarization that the Olympics don't like the idea of it. And you also, I want to ask, did the people of Los Angeles vote to bring the Olympics to LA in 2028? The answer is no. And it is a shame that there has not been public input, community input sufficiently with regards to whether to hold the games, whether they want any of this to happen. The hotels, as was mentioned earlier, that there are property owners too, not only hotels that are now replacing RSO housing, or at least are planned to, but there are also apartment owners in downtown who have explicitly said, I have vacancies in my apartment, but it's okay because the Olympics are coming. We're incentivizing displacement, we're incentivizing vacancy, we're incentivizing developers and landlords to make this a city for exclusively the wealthy, and it is a shame that this committee is even here today when there are tens of thousands of people living and dying in our streets right now. Any resources, you're talking about resources 10 years from now for youth sports, while there are youth living in the street right now. That is a shame, it is a disgrace, and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to really reconsider this entire bid, and if not, the people will force you to reconsider it.
Thank you. Next speaker, followed by Mr. Spindler. Okay, let's give it a go.
Morning. Johnny Coleman with the DSA and known as LA. I want to kind of echo what Jed just said, but also say that it's been 14 months since there's been a public meeting. I think that's a disgrace. In that time, there's been no further public polling to see if people actually want this and what their concerns are about it. There's been no vote, as Jed mentioned. There have been no impact reports on the environment. Will we have water in 2028? What will rents be like in summer 2028? What will the temperatures be like? None of these questions have been addressed. We feel like it's not an accident that this meeting was called and announced the legal minimum 72 hours in advance and was on Friday morning in Van Nuys, which is inaccessible to many of the community groups, especially downtown, who will be most affected by this, and especially around the USC area. Also, I'd like to point out the elephant in the room that no one here today is going to discuss is the fact that yesterday the Senate was hearing Safe Sport on the fact that dozens of youth sports organizations around the country have been reeling from widespread sexual abuse. At the same time, we're talking about Brett Kavanaugh sexually abusing someone. Why are we putting so much investment in nonprofit youth sports, which are unaccountable by design, instead of, if they are a priority, why are these not LAUSD projects, such as Swim LA, where they can be accountable and the public can have input? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spindler?
So, I want talk about the retired Olympic paramilitary Paralympic Games. So when you go and I think that for the grand mascot, it should be Jose Weezer's retarded son should be the mascot for
Look,
for the
you got to
Olympic
stay
Games.
on topic,
I,
Mr.
I,
Spindler.
but
Mr. Spindler, stay on topic.
I am on topic. I'm talking about the disabled games. I'm telling you, I have a disability. I'm talking about people like me with disability going and fucking putting myself in the Olympic fucking game for paramilitary game, and you don't want to fucking hear from the disabled fucking community, you fucking asshole. Now, I'm trying to do this, and I'm talking about the fucking money going into this, okay? Now, we need to prepare our sidewalks. They're not ADA compliant. Your fucking poles aren't fucking AKA compliant, and I'm trying to talk about this, and all the money, the $1,300,000, you're spending on shit like a fucking pool that nobody can fucking swim in like myself with a disability, and I'm fucking tired of it. And I'm trying to tell you how to do this, and it's Olympics. And you don't want Olympics. What you want is housing. And every other person up here gets to talk about whatever the fuck they want, you fucking herb. But nobody else gets to talk about it except you and your fucking rich fucking friends and all of your fucking campaign donors. You're a bunch of campaign donors. You
Stay
get
on
that
the
fancy
topic.
Fancy fucking grants and fancy free money that you steal from fucking Wall Street. You dumb shit. So finally, and I know she's not here, but the reason is that Nuri Martinez is a fucking cunt.
Thank you. His time's expired, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, Mr. Spindler, don't disrupt anymore. That's your first and last warning for today. So why don't I bring up the CLA. Good morning.
Good morning.
Who wants to begin?
Sure. Good morning. Ben Saha with the CAO.
And John Wickham with the CLA.
So, as you know, today we're here because we submitted a report as well as there's a board report from the Recreation and Parks Commission. And what we're here to do today is just provide you an update as to what activities have been taking place since we were here last. And in fact, it's been over a year since the city was awarded the hosting of the games back in September 2017. And as indicated in our report, we have provided an update with regard to the activities that Alley 28 has done since then. And now Alley 28 has actually now been reformatted as an organizing committee for the Olympic Games. Alley 28 recently submitted an annual report, which has been included as an attachment to the report. And we have representatives here from the OCOG that can speak to that report more directly. But we also wanted to inform you that we are continuing to work with the OCOG, and with eventually we'll have KPMG back on board to review the updates to the budget as we have indicated in the Memorandum of Understanding that was approved by your council. Another update, insurance and risk management plan. The OCOG has secured the insurance policy as of last year, and that's consistent with what was approved again in the MOU approved by the council.
So among the documents that the council approved back in August of 2017 was a memorandum of understanding that outlines the relationship between LA 28, which is now the OCOG, the USOC, and the City of Los Angeles. And so this is the governing document until we get to the next phase, which is a games agreement that transfers all of the obligations of the MOU into this new games agreement. So we are beginning work on the games agreement. That will include the terms for the youth sports program going forward. It will include, additional, all of the elements in the MOU as well. The MOU is what we've been working under. The MOU requires an annual reporting by LA 28, which they have complied with, and they've been in compliance with all of the other elements of the MOU to date, which has been great. We've been working with them to make sure that all of the information is available and provided on a timely manner. The MOU requires the reporting on the budget by March of 2019. It requires the review by KPMG, which will begin shortly, and it requires the negotiation of the games agreement by September of 2019. So we will be working on that document, as I said, over the next couple of months, and we hope to have some updates for you as the year progresses in 2019.
And there are other agreements that the OCOG needs to execute as well. They include the Joint Marketing Program Agreement, the Marketing Plan Agreement, the Games Agreement as indicated, and the Youth Sports Plan. So those will be eventually coming before your body for review as well.
Okay, but we're ahead of the game. You guys are doing the things that you need to do.
Everything is on track. LA 28 has been a great partner in working with the city and providing information, meeting the requirements of the MOU.
Okay, any questions before I bring up our Rec and Park people, Mr. Okay, Mr. Cedillo?
I don't know if it's a particular question in terms of schedules with respect to the number 160. When we'll have access to it, how we're going to get access to it, and then just the limits. So I'm excited about the swimming, but I also need restrooms at the swimming pool. I need more soccer fields. There's a whole range of activities that we have going on in my district, but they need to be augmented.
So the $160 million for the youth sports program will be, the terms for the use of that funding will be negotiated over the next few months and will be part of the games agreement that will be coming forward to you soon. So there are no details for that yet. They're being worked out, and they will be brought forward to you in the next several months for consideration.
Are we thinking January?
Probably a little bit beyond that. One of the
March?
things, yeah, we'll definitely have some more information for you by then. One of the things that LA 28 has done is they retained Boston Consulting to conduct a review of youth sports programs in the Los Angeles area. They could discuss that further with you. They could provide some details. That report is coming forward soon, and that should be able to inform the program that moves forward.
And as you indicated, there is another action that's before your committee today, and that's related to the Swim LA program that, if approved, would actually be the first straw on that $160 million. That's if it's approved as recommended from the Recreation and Parks Commission.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I'm very
Go
excited
ahead.
to hear that because we've got a pool. I see Janet Evans sitting there, and we've got a pool opening up in my district coming soon.
You know, and just as an aside, for the past 12 years, every summer, and I work directly with Rec and Parks, we take about 140 kids on a 3-day camping experience where swimming is a huge component of it. And a significant percentage of those kids are just some of the greatest swimmers in the world. But what blows my mind is that there is a percentage that do not know how to swim at all.
Of course.
And swimming, when I grew up, it was necessary, not just for exercise or to play around in a pool, just to be in a position to save your own life in the event that something were to occur. So I do think we have work to do in exposing and it's hard to believe that here, when we're surrounded by water and pools and warm weather, that there would still be a significant number of kids that could use to understand how to swim. Mr. Bloomingfield?
Well, certainly, I agree with you on the swimming issue. Both my kids are on the swim team, and my daughter's identified this problem as part of her. She's getting her bat mitzvah, and her mitzvah project is to help raise money and teach kids who can't swim how to swim, because of the issue about people in areas near oceans and water that don't know how to swim. So I think it's a great thing for us to be doing. I did have just a quick question. You mentioned the Boston Consulting Group and preparing this report. Is there any more information on how they're going about that? Because how they do that is a massive project, obviously, and will determine, I guess, to some extent, will help us, will inform how we do program these funds.
I would actually defer to LA 28. They have retained the consultants to do that study, and they would probably be better positioned to answer the question. I don't know if anybody is available for that.
Corian? Okay, if you guys would just hang around, and if we can get Mr. Scholes, our leader, expert, Olympian swimmer, gold medal winner, Janet, come on, we're gonna get you up here as well.
The wrong direction.
She was just giving them a head start. Then she was going to turn around and beat them. Yeah.
She would need to give me a big head start.
Okay. Good morning, and Mike, you want to kick it off?
Sure. Good morning, Mike Scholl with General Manager, Recreation and Parks. So we're here to talk a little bit about the Swim LA agreement that we did this past summer. Just a little bit of context, we've always offered through different sponsorships with Kaiser Permanente under Operation Splash to do free swim lessons every year in our pools. And traditionally we've ranged between 18,000+ a summer in doing so. So with this summer, we set goals of doubling that and reaching, especially in a lot of our lower income neighborhoods, and doing a lot of focus in those areas, particularly because most times those are the areas where the lack of knowledge of swimming and life-saving skills are the most needed. So with that, we were able to, over the past summer, we did 5 sessions of swim lessons, and we did in fact double the number, over 36,000 lessons this summer. So I'm joined obviously by Janet Evans on my left, but the leader of our aquatics division, Jimmy Kim, who you may have never met, but runs our aquatics division and our emergency preparedness division. And he can get into the details exactly of how that was offered and the number of pools and such like that, but I'll leave that to the council, to committee to ask those questions.
Well, you're right. I don't think I've had the pleasure to meet you, Mr. Kim. Why don't you, give us a quick rundown?
So good morning, council members. My name is Jimmy Kim, Superintendent of Rec and Park Operations. So this past summer, we had a total of 49 swimming pools open. 33 of those were seasonal swimming pools, and 19 were year-round. Last summer, in 2017, we had a total of 2,348 swim classes that was offered. This year, through the Swim LA program, we offered an additional 2,504 classes, giving us a total of 4,852 swim lessons that was available to the community in the city of LA. Like our general manager stated, last year we were at about 18,000, and this year, with the addition of the Swim LA swim lesson programs, we were able to double our numbers, with our final number being 36,126.
If I could just add too, one of the things that how we were able to do that and where some of the money is that was going to is we actually extended the hours of all these pools. So we generally extended the hours either prior to the pool when it would normally open or after it would open. We tried to do it in such a way that we still kept the recreational value of the pool intact, but were able to offer the lessons before the pool opened or after the pool closed. It just kind of kept continuity in our operations. So a lot of the operations funding that was needed was just for those extended hours. And I know the city council has always been favorable of us extending our hours of pools, and so it did really help us achieve that.
Janet, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Good morning. Thank you, President. If I can address you for a moment, it's nice to see all of you council members as well. Thanks for having us here today. It's really hard to believe it's been over a year since that night in Lima when we had a historic evening and showed the world what Los Angeles can accomplish when we all come together and rally behind a common goal. It's always an honor to be here, but it's truly an honor to be here today as part of an organizing committee, not a big committee. Today, I am pleased to share with you an update on our team's work since we last presented to all of you. and to identify our team's key priorities as we look forward to the next 18 months or so. Our first priority has always been to lay the foundation of our organization and develop the vision and values to guide us over the next 10 years. We have created a core team capable of executing our long-term vision, and we have developed an organization-wide strategic plan that guides each department's near-term and long-term goals and objectives. One of these near-term objectives is to update the organizing committee's budget for 2028. We expect KPMG to review the 2028 budget in January of 2019. We have established a joint venture with the United States Olympic Committee, which will operate as LA28's marketing and commercial team. This team is working with the IOC on developing a marketing plan in support of our commercial launch at the beginning of 2019. We will include the final LA 2028 USOC joint venture marketing plan agreement with our next annual report and budget. And finally, we have been busy getting up to speed on the landscape of Los Angeles' youth sports programming. As you know, the host city contract granted us permission to invest up to $160 million in youth sports in the years leading up to the games. Our goal for this program has been and continues to be to deliver maximum benefit for young Angelenos. We look forward to collaborating with the city family and hope to move forward towards finalizing program details by the spring of 2019. It's my dream that one or more of the young athletes we see coming through the youth sports program will compete in 2028 and will have been helped by our program. In the meantime, as you know, we are delighted to support Swim LA. Clearly, swimming is a very special place in my heart, but what many of you don't know is that I learned how to swim because my mom can't swim and still to this day doesn't know how to swim. Drowning is the leading cause of death, accidental death for children under the age of 5. As a young mom myself, I understand the need to get children and adults in swim lessons. It was great to be at the Expo Center last June, a few months ago, at the Swim LA launch, and to see all of the young people from Los Angeles learning to swim in that amazing 1932 Olympic swim venue. So I am very happy with Swim LA's success, and we look forward to more. So thank you very much, and happy to answer questions.
And thank you for coming. Questions, or Mr. Blumenfield, did you want to follow up on to see if they're
Well, in terms of, yeah,
to the firm out
to the Boston Consulting Group in terms of what they're doing, I'm not sure if that's getting a better sense of how they're going about auditing all the youth programs and what that is intended to yield.
Well, we're working with them and the city on a comprehensive analysis of the youth sports program that the city offers, and what other organizations involved with that as well. So we expect to work with them, with the city, and have a report back to you. It'll all be finalized by September of 2019.
Our City of LA programs,
Yes.
they're going out and looking at all the nonprofit groups, and that's
Organizations, that basically a comprehensive analysis of youth sports in the city of Los Angeles.
okay. Like and how they're going to go about doing it. So, thank you.
Okay. Did you, Mr. Cedillo? Okay. Well, again, thank you. Go ahead.
CLA and CAO, but that's the big for that.
So anyway, thank you, and it's always a pleasure to see you. And we enjoy the moments when we have good news and happy times. Okay, now we're going to ask John and Ben a tough question. Go get them, Mr. Cookle.
I just wanted to find out a little bit more about what the process will be when the revised budget comes back. KPMG is finished, when the revised budget is completed by the OCOG. What are our next steps, and will we have an opportunity to reconsider the economic relationship between the city and the OCOG, particularly around insurance? Because changes in the budget may very well change the city's potential exposure, and we need to be mindful of that and be able to take whatever steps we need to take to protect the taxpayers of the city. So what's the process of that going to be?
So it's my understanding that the insurance requirements that we placed on the Alley 28 and the OCOG through the MOU were very robust.
They were, but we
and-
don't have a budget yet. So
Exactly, but and what's going to inform that budget will be some meetings, workshops that the OCOG and the city is going to have between now and January, really, and through February. These are going to be meetings where we actually talk about city services. We talk about the cost that we anticipate the city having to provide above and beyond its normal services that we would be delivering in the normal course of day. So those discussions that will inform, I think, the budget development as the budget update that's going on. And I think, we have a really good working relationship with the OCOG, with representatives. We meet on a regular basis. I believe there's definitely opportunities there if what's revealed indicates that the budget has to be dramatically changed. I think there's going to be opportunities for further discussions as to what insurance products we may need to enhance.
Since the MOU gets translated into the games agreement, I think that's the opportunity to have that conversation to bridge the information from KPMG, from the enhanced services discussions into the final document that governs the relationship through 28.
very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Again, thank you very much. Members, what I would suggest is that we note and file item 1, and we adopt the Board of Rec and Park Commissioners report where it relates to item 2. So without objection, we'll deem those items approved. And Madam Clerk, is there any additional business before this body?
That completes all the items this morning.
Okay, then this committee meeting is adjourned.